Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Respected teachers, dignitaries, and the students, it's a great pleasure meeting you all online. Offline would have been better, but something is better than nothing. And at the outset, I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity of meeting you online. The topic that has been given is face the challenge of life. How to face the challenge of life. So the biggest challenge of life is life is full of challenges. That is the biggest challenge. Life is full of problems, full of struggles. In fact, Maharaja Khetri, Ajit Singh Ji, Maharaja of Khetri, once asked Swami Vivekananda, Swamiji, what is life? Swamiji immediately replied, my dear prince, life is nothing but the unfoldment of a being under the circumstances trying to press it down. So, life is full of struggles. It is ups and downs are always there. And you have to enjoy the game of life. When you go for enjoying the movie, supposing it is all going on smoothly, there is no tragic, then you will not enjoy the movie. There has to be up and down. There has to be hero. Also, there has to be villain. And there has to be a fight between the hero and villain. Then only you will enjoy the movie. Supposing a Ramayana, Kaikeyi is telling Dashratha, and Dashratha is telling, no, Ram should not be sent. And Kaikeyi says, okay, doesn't matter. Then the Ramayana is over. But she doesn't give up. And then Ramchandra has to go 14 years, Vanvas, exile. And then supposing there is a war between Rama and Ravana. At the very first instant, Ramchandra kills Ravana. There is no beauty or you cannot enjoy the movie. First of all, there has to be big war. Then Kumbhakarna will come, Meghnad will come. Lastly, there will be war with Ramana. In between, Lakshmana will be also hurt. So many things will come. So there will be ups and downs. Then you enjoy the movie. So if you try to see your own life, and if you try to think that it is a movie, enjoy the game of life. Sometimes there are ups, sometimes there are down. It is not a smooth sailing. Struggles will come. Many students complain to me, I do not know why God is so partial. I am only flooded with all types of problems. All types of struggles I am flooding with. Compared to my students, I am always having more and more problems. Then I ask them, let me know, do you want to become ordinary or extraordinary? Then they say, no. We want to become extraordinary. Okay. Now listen to the equation. Ordinary people have to undergo ordinary struggle. Extraordinary people have to undergo extraordinary struggle. Now you decide whether you want to become ordinary or extraordinary. Swami Vivekananda says, greater the struggle, greater the person who comes out of it. Greater the struggle, greater the person who comes out of it. And this is why we find in all the great people how much struggle they had to undergo. And that is why they became great, because they faced great struggles. You see anybody's life, how much Gandhiji had to struggle in South Africa and also in India. How Swami Vivekananda had struggled throughout his life, full of challenges, full of problems. But he took all the problems as challenges. You see, when you face a challenge, first of all, you have to be positive. Problem is not problem, it is a challenge. When you accept a challenge and when you pass the examination, you get degree. If you pass the examination of graduation, you get degree of graduation. If you pass the examination, which is more difficult, post-graduation, you get post-graduation certificate. And if you still pass more difficult examination, PhD, then you become a doctorate. So the more you struggle hard, the more reward you will get. So if you want to become PhD, you have to work hard, harder than others. If you want to do post-graduation, harder than the graduation. So this is the equation we must remember. Greater the struggle, greater is a person who comes out of it. So even Swami Vivekananda, if you see his life, how much he had to struggle. You can see any great person, but I am giving example of Swami Vivekananda since you are all acquainted with that, being in Calcutta. So as I told you, I will start with once again. As I told you, all the great people, Swami Vivekananda has given the formula: greater the struggle, greater is the person who comes out of it. So if you observe all the lives of the great people, you find they had to undergo a lot of struggle. Example, you see Swami Vivekananda's life. At the age of only 21 years, his father suddenly passed away due to a heart attack. He was the eldest son. His name was Narendranath Datta, and his father Vishwanath Datta was a lawyer of Calcutta High Court. He was born in a royal family. He had all the amenities. He had all the luxuries of life. But suddenly when his father passed away, his father was a very large-hearted man. So he gave a lot of charities. Not only that, his partner played a fraud with him, and all the debts were transferred to Vishwanath Dutt, and so Narendranath had to pay all the debts. In fact, his mother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, had to sell all the ornaments to pay off the debts. Now, the uncle of Narendranath told them to get out of the house. They had nowhere to stay, so they stayed in one small room. His mother's mother was staying nearby. With them, they stayed. Nothing to eat. And Swami Vivekananda, at that time, he was a graduate and he was doing masters in law. You can understand, at that time to pass graduation was like passing IAS now. Very few people used to pass graduation. At that time, he was already a graduate and doing masters, and yet apply, no reply. He had to undergo this tremendous struggle of unemployment. And then he had to tell his mother a lie that no, today I have got some invitation, because he saw if he eats, then his other younger brothers, sisters will not be able to eat. There is no food there in the house. So much struggle, so much of poverty. With that, he had to undergo. And then finally, he told Sri Ramakrishna to give blessing so that at least the basic amenities of his household are fulfilled. Then only he renounced the world, became a monk after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, wandered all over the country. Sometimes he did not get food for 5 days, he says. 5 days, no food. Sometimes he got chapati so hard that he had to soak it in water and then take it. So much of hard struggle he underwent when he was wandering. He was a wandering monk going all over the country. And then he went to America. And when he was in Gujarat, he heard for the first time about the World Parliament of Religions that were to be held in Chicago. And then he said, okay, I will go to foreign countries, bring wealth, science, technology from there, and remove the poverty of my nation, of my people. And in exchange, I will give them the nectar of Vedanta. With that thing, he crossed the ocean somehow. And then after going there, what does he find? When he went to the Parliament of World Religion, they said, already the time is over for nomination, number one. And it was in the month of July that he went. And they said, second thing is that the Parliament will be only in September. It will start on 11th September. And you cannot speak here. Where is the letter of recommendation? Who has sponsored you? Where is the letter of recommendation? He had not taken any letter of recommendation. Some young people in Madras, in Chennai, had told him to go there. And so he had gone. He thought just by presenting himself, he will be taken as a speaker. They said, no, no, no. You require credentials. Which organization sent you? Nobody has sent. So now he was under disappointment. He cannot now appear as a speaker there in the Parliament of Religions. Now, how to pass the days, because he had no money. He had no money to go back also. So he wrote to his disciples, young disciples of Madras, that you fools, you did not think that I should have to have some credentials. And now they are not admitting me as a speaker. Not only that, here the charges of hotels are very high. I cannot stay here also. So at least you send me the ticket, send me the fare so that I can go back to India. Otherwise here there is severe cold. That time it used to be minus, and he had taken the clothes only what is worn in India. There was no warm cloth. And he was suffering like anything. Just see the life of Swami Vivekananda. How much he suffered due to severe biting cold. And then how dramatically he goes to Boston in order to save money. And there he comes across the professor of Harvard University, Professor John Henry Wright. He meets him just accidentally. And John Henry Wright, after seeing his scholarship, he says, Swami, you ought to go to the Parliament of World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago as a speaker. And Swami Vivekananda said, oh, I came only for that. But they are telling you don't have credentials. Then John Henry Wright said, Swami, to ask credentials from you is like asking the sun as to what right it is to shine on the earth. And then he himself wrote a letter of recommendation, letter of credentials to the chairman of the World's Parliament of Religions, Dr. John Henry Barrows. He wrote, here is a man who is more learned than all of our professors put together. And that is how then he was admitted. In between also some dramatic things happened. He lost the address of the Parliament of Religions and he had to beg food and nobody was giving him food. Then he was sitting under a tree, fully dejected. Then he thought, let me die out of cold and hunger here under this tree. And then suddenly Mrs. Hell looks out of the window and comes to him and tells him and takes him to and asks him why he had come. And he says that he is told that I have come for Parliament Religions. Then she takes him to the Parliament Religions, and gradually, then also the day he became very popular, on 11th September 1893, he delivered his historic speech and he became world famous. On that night also, whole night he wept and prayed to the Divine Mother. Oh Mother, here they are having so many luxuries. And my countrymen do not have even enough to take food also. So even that day also he was weeping. Whole life he was weeping, whole night he was weeping, and whole life he was weeping for the poor people, for the downtrodden people. That much of suffering he has undergone. It is not just like that, by a click, that he has become great. Each and every person has to undergo tremendous struggle. So we have to welcome the struggles. Greater the struggle, greater the person who comes out of it. So let us face the challenges. When Swami Vivekananda was traveling all over the country, he came to Varanasi. He had a darshan of Ma Durga Devi. And then when he was coming out of the temple, suddenly a few large-sized monkeys, black-headed, they started chasing him. So Swami Vivekananda became afraid and he started running. And the monkeys started running after him. Now, what to do? One side there was a pond, another side was the wall, big wall. So he was going further and further, going forward and running forward and forward. And he became exhausted. And then suddenly he remembered. Suddenly he found one old man shouting at him, "Hey, डरो मत, बंदर का सामना करो. Don't be afraid. Face the brutes. Face the monkeys." And then Swamiji stopped and looked back at the monkeys and did like this. And all the monkeys fled away. Afterwards, in his lecture in America, he said, "That day, I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life." What is that? Face the brutes. Face the difficulties of life. If you are afraid, difficulties will follow. The struggles will follow. But if you face the difficulties boldly, courageously, all the difficulties will run away, just as these monkeys ran away. So this is a big lesson that day he learned. And this is the lesson that we have to learn from Swami Vivekananda's life. Face the brutes. And then we have to remember one formula, that if we want to face the challenge, the most important thing is be positive. Develop PMA, positive mental attitude. Avoid NMA, negative mental attitude. How to develop positive mental attitude? There are two ways of looking at a thing. Glass is half full. Then negative person will say, "Oh, glass is half empty." And then the positive man will say, no, glass is half full. So the PMA person is looking at the filled up of the glass, what is filled up. And the negative person looking at the empty side of the glass. I have lost one leg. Now I must commit suicide because there is nothing left in my life. That is negative mental attitude. But I have lost one leg, but I have got another leg which is not lost. With that leg, I will go to Mount Everest, and conquer the Mount Everest and create a world record. That is positivity. This is what really happened. You must be knowing the story. A young woman, aged 23 years, was going by train from Lucknow to Delhi for appearing in an interview. It was 11th April 2011. And then night, 4 dacoits came. She was traveling in an ordinary general compartment because there was no time for her to book the reservation. Now, these 4 dacoits, they told all the passengers to give up all their jewelry and all their belongings. So they all gave up and they all started giving. This girl, she said, no, I will not give up this chain. This is given by my mom to me, and it is a sacred thing for me. I will not give. Golden chain. The dacoits, they simply told, no, you have to give. And there was a war of words, and then again they started beating, and this girl was already at that time was national volleyball champion. So she started quarreling alone with these 4 people. Now these 4 dacoits thought, such a courageous lady, single-handed, she is quarreling with us, and all the people have given up. If they also become courageous, then we will have to give up everything we have to give back to them. So they became very furious, and they just threw her out of the running train. She collided with another train that was coming on the parallel track, again collided with this train. 2-3 times there was such bouncing. Then she fell down, and her left leg was cut below the knee. Then she was lying between the 2 tracks. Whole night she was screaming, weeping, but nobody came to her help. 49 trains passed to and fro from the 2 parallel tracks, but nobody came to her rescue. In the mornings, some villagers saw. They took her to a nearby station. From there, she was taken to Bareilly station. From there, she was taken to Bareilly Civil Hospital. And the doctor said, this girl is going to die because already gangrene has started developing, and we do not have anesthesia or anesthetist to perform the operation on her leg. This girl was still having some consciousness. So she said, no, 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 I want to live. If you do not have anesthesia, please perform operation. The doctor said, you will have tremendous suffering. She said, okay, I'll undergo suffering, but please perform operation. And her leg was amputated. 1.5 hours, an hour and a half, the operation went on. And she went on bearing that tremendous pain, terrible suffering. And then she was shifted from there to Lucknow and then to Delhi, AIMS. And now the game started. The UP government was accused that there is no law and order, and the UP government gave reply, no, she was trying to commit suicide. That is why her leg has been already injured in the accident. She was trying to commit suicide, and there are no dacoits in UP. She tried to convince the press people also, media also, but nobody listened to her. So she decided on the hospital bed, as soon as I get over, I have lost one leg. Already there is an artificial leg there. But another leg is okay. With that leg, I'll go to Mount Everest, create the world record. Then only the media people will listen to me. As soon as she came out of the hospital, she first went to Jamshedpur, met Bachedri Pal, who was the first lady to go to Mount Everest. And then she underwent training of mountaineering. She had never done mountaineering. She was a volleyball champion, but she had never done mountaineering. But she underwent the training of mountaineering. And then she had already conquered 10,000 feet. On 23rd January 2013, she came to Baroda for some program for delivering motivational talk. By that time, she had become a celebrity. All the media were showing her that she had already conquered 10,000 feet. Then she came to our Vivekananda Memorial, Ramakrishna Mission at Baroda. I was at that time the head of Baroda Center. She told me, Swamiji, you must give me special blessing, because even the people with 2 legs, they die. And I'm having only 1 leg, and I want to go to Mount Everest now in the month of May. I said, I can't give you blessing, but I can give you my best wishes. If you want blessing, you go to meditation room and take the blessings of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, Sarada Devi. She went to the meditation room and she prayed there. She came back. She said she was feeling very nice after this meditation. And then I gave her a photograph of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda, and told her, whenever you have difficulty, you pray to them, all your problems will be solved. Whenever you have difficulty, just pray to them. And when you go to Mount Everest, keep that photograph there. Don't bring it back. Then I gave her some books of Swami Vivekananda, including one small book, Thoughts of Power. I said, this book you must take right up to Mount Everest. Go on reading this book. Whenever you are feeling low spirit, just read one sentence from the book of Swami Vivekananda. She exactly followed all my instructions. And there was a time when she was reaching the top, the summit, Mount Everest. Suddenly her oxygen went down. And the Sherpa said, you must come back, because without oxygen you cannot go. But she said, no, no, no. I have given promise to Swamiji that this photograph has to be kept there. So at least I have got that much oxygen. At least I can reach there. I may not be able to return. I may die. Doesn't matter. But I fulfill my objective, my aim. And she went there. She went, unfurled the Indian flag. And that was on 21st May 2013, she became the first female amputee in the world to climb Mount Everest with 1 leg. So then she worshipped that photograph, kept the photograph there, started coming, then she collapsed. As it happened, because there was no oxygen. Then at that time, the Sherpa saw one Britisher was climbing up. When he saw that the climate had already, it was 11 a.m. and that time it becomes a suicidal attempt because the climate goes very bad. It becomes very, very heavy climate. And already snowfall had started. It was minus 40 degrees Celsius. So the Britisher was, he thought that he gave up his idea of climbing up. So he was having two oxygen cylinders, one for going, one for returning. So he took up one fresh oxygen cylinder, and this oxygen cylinder that he was wearing, he threw away. The Sherpa saw it, and he immediately went, because there was some oxygen left in that one. He immediately put to this girl, and her name, as you know, is Arunima Sinha. And she was saved. And I had promised her that when she comes back, after fulfilling her objective, we will see that she is felicitated by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So when she came back, on 10th and 11th August, we had International Youth Conference in Baroda. So on 10th August, she was felicitated by Dr. Kalam. As you know, afterwards, she got Padma Shri also. She got doctorate from many universities. She had become a very big motivational speaker now. So this is the story of Arunima Sinha. How could she develop it? Because she developed EMA. She followed the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. She faced the challenge of life courageously, boldly, without getting cowardice. This is the challenge that she accepted, and that is why now she has become a celebrity. So this is a great lesson for us, that always be positive, develop PMA. And for becoming positive, how to be positive? Just remember the story of Swami Vivekananda about a lion and the sheep. Let us look at the story of the lion and the sheep, and then I will tell you how Swami Vivekananda inspired all the Americans when they were under low spirit. With this story, how he inspired them to develop positive thinking, to develop optimism in their mind, and how he helped them going forward in their lives. With this story, very small but very, very important story. Whenever you are low in spirits, whenever you feel low in spirits, whenever there are challenges to be faced, whenever you feel that you are falling short of self-confidence, to combat these challenges, just remember this story. Let us see the story. Small story, very important story.
Talk not about impurity, but say that we are pure. We have hypnotized ourselves into this thought that we are little, that we are born, and that we are going to die, and into a constant state of fear. Today, I am going to tell a story about an orphaned lion cub who was brought up by sheep, and although in time it became a full-grown lion, it thought it was a sheep. One day, another lion came in search of prey and was astonished to find that in the midst of this flock of sheep was a lion.
You are a lion. I am a sheep. Look here, into the water. Are we different? No, we are not different.
The male lion asked the sheep lion to roar like a lion. The sheep lion tried to roar, but bleated once. Again, second time, it attempted, but couldn't. Finally, it roared like a lion. You are lions. You are the soul. pure, infinite, and perfect. We have hypnotized ourselves into this thought that we are little, that we are born, and that we are going to die, and into a constant state of fear. The sign of life is strength and growth. The sign of death is weakness. Whatever is weak, avoid. It is death. If it is strength, go down into hell and get hold of it. There is salvation only for the brave. Therefore, stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. All the strength and succor you want is within yourself. Therefore, make your own future. The infinite future is before you.
So that was the story of the lion and the sheep. And Swami Vivekananda, in the World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago, he narrated a shloka from Shweta Shvetar Upanishad. Shunvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastuhu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Tameva Viditvati Mritameti Nanya Pantha Vidyatanaya. Ye the children of immortal bliss. Then he said, dear sisters and brothers of America, let me call you by this sweet name. What is that? Amritasya Putra. Ye are the children of immortal bliss. Amritasya Putra. Ye the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. Ye divinities on earth, sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is standing liable on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. Ye are not matter, ye are not bodies. Matter is a servant, not ye the servant of matter. That is the message of Vedanta. That is the nectar of Vedanta delivered by Swami Vivekananda to the Americans, which we now need very much among our students because of the negative thinking, because of the lack of self-confidence. Even a little problem, a little challenge, and suicide. What a sad affair of things. For very small things, the youngsters are committing suicide. They are becoming depressed. They are becoming prey of schizophrenia. You have to be bold. And how can we be bold? When we remember our true nature. Our true nature is Atman. Ever pure, ever blissful Atman, having infinite power, is already there. We don't have to acquire. We don't have to import from others. Already it is there. Inside every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudo atmana prakashate drishyate tvagreya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshi said. Sukshmadarshi, we says the contribution. Inside every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, there is the center of consciousness having infinite power. But of course, at present, we are not able to feel it. We are not able to experience it. Why? Because there is a great covering, the covering of ignorance. So our aim is to remove this covering. Once we remove this covering, then we will feel that infinite power. How to remove this covering? There are 4 methods. So Swami Vivekananda gives the gist of the whole of Vedanta in his book on Raj Yoga. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal of human life is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines, dogmas, rituals, temples, churches, mosques are but secondary details. So this is the gist of the whole of Vedanta. This is the gist of whole of religion. What is that? Manifesting the divinity within. How? By combining 4 yogas: Raj Yoga, meditation; Bhakti Yoga, prayer; Jnana Yoga, inspirational reading; and Karma Yoga, unselfish service. When we practice these 4 yogas in our daily life, gradually we will have more and more of power. And once that ignorance, the cloud of ignorance is over, we will manifest that infinite power. So, though it is a long way, that is why Swami Vivekananda said, Uttisthata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. What is the goal? Goal is to manifest the divinity. Once the manifested divinity comes, then we will have infinite power, infinite happiness, infinite bliss, eternal life. That is the goal. But we have to move inch by inch every day by practicing 4 yogas. So once that inner power is awakened, and remembering that power, we will be able to face any challenge in life. So we don't have to be cowed down. Whatever may be the challenge, it may be physical challenge, it may be a mental problem, it may be a financial problem, it may be a tension due to examination, it may be tension due to unemployment, it may be tension due to facing the interview, whatever it is. Irrespective of whatever is type of the difficulty or the challenge that we are facing, if we remember our true nature, if we remember that we have infinite power, if we remember that we have the power to conquer, the power to overcome difficulties, then we will not be cowed down, we will not become depressed, and we will not get completely uprooted from our being. So I'm very happy to have talked to you. I've given in a nutshell, face the challenges of life by remembering that challenges are a part of life, and we take it them and in a sportsman spirit. And once we face the challenge, at that time it is difficult. Once we overcome that challenge, you got higher and higher and higher. The more challenges you face, the greater you become. Greater the person, the greater the struggles, greater is the person who comes out of it. Remembering this, let us face the challenge boldly and get higher and higher. So I'm thankful to the organizers once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Swamiji. So, if the students have any questions, Ananita ma'am, you just ask the students if they have any questions to Swamiji, if they want to ask. So, you just tell them, the student. So, any students have any question? Hello?
No, ma'am. No question.
You don't have any students have any question?
You see,
Sorry to
No question, ma'am.
actually
if
my
you want,
is
they
not
can
working.
ask the questions in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself, or you can put the question in the chat box. And 100 questions I have answered of the youth in FAQ that is available in my website. My website is given. And then in the YouTube also, you will find so many such motivational videos for the youth, how to get success in life and how to get confidence and concentration and all that. That also you can get. And if at all afterwards also, if you have some question, then you can write to me. My email ID is also given. Okay. At present, you write your questions either in chat box or you unmute yourself and you can ask me directly. And I'll be very happy to reply. But if you are not comfortable with that, you can later on send the questions by email.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
I have any question. How can I handle my life experience in your experience? Any
Hello?
life experience or anything?
There is a lot of disturbance. Can somebody repeat the question?
Yes, Tanya, we can't get it. Your voice is not clear. You just repeat once again, or you can write down it.
How can I handle my
Tanya is asking
experience
how
of
to
life?
get challenge in my life.
Yes.
I think she is trying to ask how to get over challenges in my life.
Yes.
This is exactly I have told. The whole lecture was against that. How to face challenges in life by accepting the challenges as the challenge. That is, they are meant for you to overcome the challenge and become great. Number one, take it in a positive light. Develop PMA, and whatever is the circumstances, be bold, face the brutes, face the difficulties of life squarely, rather than getting dejected by the challenge. And according to the situation, you take a decision. But be bold, be courageous, and face the challenge. This is how you can face any challenge. whatever it is. It may be financial challenge, it may be it may be related to a study. Whatever is the challenge, you face it boldly, face the brutes, and remember you are a lion and you are not sheep. That sheep, small lion, was thinking itself a lion, was not a lion but was a sheep, because it was going along with the sheep all through right from its birth. But when the big lion said, no, you are a lion. Similarly, Swami Vivekananda tells us, you are a lion, you have got infinite power. No, I will not have power. I don't have any power. Again, Swami Vivekananda says, no, you have got power. No, I don't have power. I am a sheep. Again, we are just bleating, bah, bah, bah. Then Swami Vivekananda says, look into the pool of water. Meditate. See inside yourself. Then during meditation, we find out, yes, there is the Atman, there is the source of infinite strength within us. So it is not a question of a day or two. With long practice, we will be able to manifest the divinity, and we have to go on reminding ourselves, I am not lion, I am sheep, I am not sheep, I am lion, and I can face any challenge squarely. So be bold and face the challenge, face the problems of life.
So I hope there are no other questions. Yes, ma'am, you just continue. Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Is there any
Good evening, Maharaj. Please accept my respectful obeisances. I've got some questions. May I ask?
Yeah.
So, Maharaj, what is, according to the theology of Vivekananda Ramakrishna Mission, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I mean, according to various scriptures like the Vedas, the Puranas, it is described in many other, like in many other theologies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is depicted as, somewhere it is like Lord Rama is said that he is supreme, somewhere Lord Shiva is depicted as the Supreme One. So who is the Supreme Lord? Who is the controller of everything? And what is the difference between Ishvara and Bhagavan?
Very nice question. So technology, actually this word Ishvara and God,
yes,
or Bhagwan, they are one and the same thing, number one. Number two,
okay,
in India, the concept of Brahman is there. Brahman is the absolute reality, which is beyond time, space and causation, and which can take any form if it wants. So both formless and with form. Vedanta recognizes God with forms, without forms. It depends upon you, what is convenient to you, number one. Number two, you can give any name. You can give name Allah, you can give name God, you can give the name Rama, you can give the Krishna, you can give the any form. Whatever you feel, you can, because God has got infinite ways in which to express itself. Because it is having infinite power, it can express itself in various ways. So there is not only one way to reach that ultimate reality. This is what Sri Ramakrishna practiced in his laboratory of life. He practiced various religions and came to the conclusion that all religions lead to the same goal. Joto mat, toto pat. As many faiths, so many paths. So there is no need of any conflict between various faiths. Let each and every person follow his or her own path, remembering that ultimately leading to the one goal. So there should not be any enmity or any sort of dogma or fanaticism in religion. You follow your own religion, I follow my own religion. If you believe in the formless God, okay, well, good for you. If you believe in God as Rama, well and good. If you believe in Krishna, well and good. If you believe in Divine Mother Kali, well and good. If you believe in formless God, well and good. So all the things are accepted in Vedanta. That is the beauty of Vedanta. That is why it is universal. That is the type of Vedanta preached by Swami Vivekananda in the Parliament of World Religion. He said that we accept all religions as equally true. This is what he told in the Parliament of Religions. He said that we do not believe only in toleration, but we accept all religions as equally true. And that is why he told we must say goodbye to all types of fanaticism, all types of sectarianism, and all types of bigotry. This is what he prayed for. That is why his speech on 11th September 9/11 is considered one of the best speeches ever given by anybody in the world so far in the world history.
Yes, Maharaj, I absolutely agree with you. But I've been very fortunate enough in my life to meet His Holiness Nikhil Krishnadasa Goswami. He is a senior devotee from Gaudiya Math. So, according to him, he told me that if I believe that Arvind Kejriwal is the Chief Minister of West Bengal, it can be my personal belief that it does not change the fact that Mamata Banerjee is the Chief Minister of Bengal. So that is why we can have various methods of faith to reach the ultimate God, but there must be one God, right? So that is my question again, to you, that who can I can definitely consider every form of Brahman as God, but there should be one ultimate one, right? So Maharaj, what is that?
Whatever is your faith is good for you. Please believe in that. But let others believe in their God. Otherwise, there is going to be a big problem. You believe in your God. You take your God as a supreme self, supreme God. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But you allow others also. Any other question?
Namaskar Maharaj. Many of people fail without sorry sir. Many people don't try to do something because of fear of failure. Can you enlighten something about this?
Can you kindly repeat the question?
Many of people don't do anything because of fear of failure.
Yeah.
To give some advice,
Very nice. Very nice question. So we should not be afraid of any failure. Swami Vivekananda says failure are the beauty of life, poetry of life. What would be life without failures? Failures are the beauty of life. And then he again adds, I never had a cow tell a lie, but he is always a cow and never a man. A man makes mistakes and becomes greater. A cow never makes a mistake, it remains where it is. So failure will come, it will teach a lesson. If we try something, then only we can get success. If we do not try, we will not get success. Now, supposing if we try and we get a failure, it will teach us a lesson. At least we get experience. So Edison said, I found out 999 ways how not to create a bulb. After 1000 efforts, he got it. So all the 909 efforts were not in vain. They taught him how bulb cannot be manufactured, all cannot be made. So the 1000 efforts, they were all not a single one of in vain. So we learn from our failures. If we get success, well and good, but we should go on trying. So that is why we should always not be afraid and face the difficulties, face the failures. Failure comes, we'll welcome them, we learn from them and go forward. So because of the fear of failures, we should not stop our efforts.
Okay, as we have come to the end of today's session, on behalf of everyone, I would like to convey thanks to Swamiji for his inspiring and eye-opening words. Apart from that, I have an good news for the student participants. Swamiji has decided to gift you all with his book. So we will send it to you. Thank you, Swamiji, for your time and patience. We will hope to meet you in our offline campus.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
So,
Thank you, Swamiji.